Hello and welcome to Whimsical Farm. We wanted to talk tonight about a new diet that we started, and this is a carnivore diet. We've tried a couple of different things to try to lose weight and reduce our blood pressure, and one of which was the intermittent fasting, and that it worked okay, but it was very difficult to maintain because you only get to eat one meal a day and or two meals a day, and very limited, and you get hungry a lot. So we switched over to the carnivore diet. We've watched a lot of YouTube videos working with doctors all over the United States, some from Australia, some from America, that have had very good success. They've helped treat a lot of people's diseases and problems. Probably the biggest champions of this have been Jordan Peterson, and he's a clinical psychologist, lectures all over the world, and his daughter, Michaela Peterson, and she had all kinds of different problems. She had to have a ankle replaced, a hip joint replaced because of arthritis, and she had autoimmune disease. And so what they found out, and a lot of people are finding out, is that on a carnivore diet where you're eating just the beef and just meats, some people allow other things. You can eat, of course, chicken, fish, eggs. There's many different things you can eat. You don't just have to sit around and eat a block of meat all day long. But we really like carnivore. I've been on it now for about a month. When I first started intermittent fasting, I was at 278 pounds, lost a little bit of weight, maintained that. But when I went on carnivore, the weight started falling off fast. I get up every morning, I make 3 scrambled eggs. My wife has me a piece of sausage cooked, ready to go in the morning early. And I take that, usually a large beef patty with some cheese on it for lunchtime, and keep it really simple. And for a snack, sometimes have some pig skins, either a hot or a plain pig skins just for a snack. And again, that's carnivore because it's meat. So we really, so far, have enjoyed it, and we look forward to this in the future. I worked today, just a half a day at work, but when I went in, I had slept so good. It was the best I had slept in a long time. And I got to work, I had very good clarity of thought, and I was able to work really hard and get my job done. They let us off a little bit early today. On the way home, I came up on a 4-way intersection, and my mind was very, very clear. I started to pull out into the intersection, and I looked to my right-hand side, and I saw a vehicle coming, and they just kept rolling like there was no stop signs, no nothing. And at the last second, I veered the car, slammed on the brakes, and they managed to shoot by me. And I mean, I missed by 1 inch. But the reason I told about this story about this almost wreck was the clarity of thought that I had from being on this all-meat diet was unreal. It was like I could see them coming out of the corner of my eye, and everything, like in the movies, went into slow motion. I knew which way to veer. I knew whether I needed to accelerate or brake in the exact same point. And I want to give a lot of credit to the carnivore diet for that. So if you haven't tried this, you need to give it a try. Some people speculate. They say, well, I can never do that. Well, give it a try for 30 days and see if you don't begin to lose weight. The other thing for me was blood pressure. I'm 61 years of age. I retire here in about another month. And my blood pressure had gone up to 142 for my upper number. And I was running about 90, 95 on the lower number. My pulse rate was okay. It was reading around 70. But just after being on this a short period of time, my blood pressure has dropped way down. I went down to, I think my upper number was 108 over 78. So I've got blood pressure like a teenager again. Pulse rate was 68. So we'll keep tracking that. I did do a blood test, a base test when I started this, and we'll do another one here in a month or so. But I like the carnivore so far. You're not sitting around hungry. If you're hungry, you can always eat something. You can eat some meat. You can have a can of tuna. You can make some scrambled eggs, some boiled eggs. You can have them as snacks, or just many things that you can eat. So one of the first things we want to make as a video, we want to make a video of a recipe that we've seen on YouTube, and I've never cooked this myself, but we're going to give it a shot. And this is 100% beef. There's no pork here. $5 a pound for a premium quality ribeye. And I can't spend $15 to $25 for meat. We buy high quality ground meat from a feed store in Rosebud, Arkansas, and it runs about $4.29 a pound. So this was even cheaper then, and you can see this is really a beautiful block of meat, and it's got a big fat cap on the top, and we're getting ready to prep this. So feel free to look up the carnivore diet on YouTube. Just look on there. There's a Dr. Chafee. There's several different doctors on there, and all through our life we've been taught that you need to eat a lot of vegetables, and I'm finding out that may not necessarily be true. You can get all the vitamins that you need, all the nutrients that you need from eating an all meat based diet. The fat, once your body, in America, we're used to eating everything that's full of sugar. We eat Cheerios in the morning, we put sugar or honey on top of them. You eat a couple pieces of toast, that's sugar on top of sugar, or some Pop-Tarts, or something that's grain-based, and then, or a big stack of pancakes. Then you have some fried hash browns to go with it, and now you're just eating sugar on top of sugar. And on the way to work, you stop and get a double or a triple espresso somewhere, and it's got a whole bunch of high fructose corn syrup or regular cane sugar. And all day long, your body is responding. It's spiking your insulin to try to drive this sugar back down. When you stop eating the sugar, you will feel lethargic for a little bit because we're just used to running off sugar. But I have a theory. I think you can back this up medically. Your body has a switch. It can flip between two modes. It either burns sugar over here, high fructose corn syrup, cane sugar, sucrose, some kind of sugar from fruit, from grains, from vegetables, beans, anything that's starchy, potatoes, is sugar. As soon as you cut all that nonsense out and switch over to meat, now your body switches over to burning fats and proteins. Both of those will turn into sugar, but they do it very slowly. And your insulin in your body will not spike. It'll stay level. It changes everything. You run like a different human being. Your emotions and your mood and everything stabilizes. When you're living off of sugar, your emotions go up and down. If you ever seen a little kid, people used to say, well, they're getting ready for bedtime, don't give me any sugar because they'll be bouncing off the walls, and that's true. So with the beef too, the all meat carnivore diet, there are professional athletes. I'm talking not people that are just being buff. There's people that are power lifters, jiu-jitsu fighters, boxers, rugby players, track runners, marathon runners, people that are looking for optimum performance of the human body, and they're eating carnivore. So I thought we'd give it a try. Like I say, we're about a month into it, maybe a little over that. But I'm looking forward to eating this right here. This is a beef brisket. The main goals of the beef brisket is you want to get this thing where it's got a beautiful bark on it, a nice dark bark, and we have a really nice pellet smoker, and it's a Pitboss. It's a vertical one, basically looks like a refrigerator, and we'll get to that part later when we load it up. So this is I tried to make this process of cooking this very simple. So I want to make it a very easy way. I notice a lot of people when they do these, the first thing you do, they break out a big sharp knife and they start cutting it up and trimming off all the fat. On carnivore, you don't do that. You want the fat to stay in place. So the first thing we're going to do with this, good price, and it'll make a lot of meals. We're going to slice it up real nice. So the first thing we're going to do is just give it a quick coat with mustard, and we're going to use the mustard kind of as a glue. It has a little bit of vinegar in it, and that's pretty good for kind of helping the meat break down a little bit. it'll kind of attack the meat and begin to tenderize it some. You won't taste the mustard real strong. I've done this a whole bunch of times with baby back ribs, but we're just going to give it a quick coat. And I'm wearing these nitrile gloves. These are some I got from work years ago, a big box of them. And it just makes doing this job a lot easier because you're going to get mustard all over your hands. And I don't want to do that. I want to get this coated, get a quick coat of the mustard. Hopefully I won't make too big of a mess. That's one thing about making a video. If you make a mistake, it's going to be right there for everybody to see. But we believe in being very real and just show you how quick you can get this done. So now I've got my mustard on it. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over. This is the meat side, and the other side is the fat back. We're going to put that fat on the top. Some people put it on the bottom, and I have no idea why, because I know that fat's going to drip down through it. So there goes the gloves. There's the first glove. He's gone. It's going to go inside the other glove, and he's gone. And it's going to go over to the wood stove, which you cannot see. So goodbye gloves. All right. Quick paper towel just to make sure I don't have anything left. And there we go. So mustard's gone. Now, let's start off with Tony's. I love the Tony's. That's a really good seasoning. It's got a little cayenne. It's got a little bit of salt. But we're just going to put a nice thin coat, not too much, of the Tony's. I'm probably going to get a little bit of mustard back on my hands, but we're not going to worry about that. Put a little coat of the Tony's. All over good. We're going to use some McCormick's garlic powder. Nice coat of that. Real simple. We keep this easy because that's the other thing I like about Carnivore is it's very simple. You don't have a whole bunch of gravies and sauces and things that are, take a long time to make. This is, again, this is salt. We're going to use a little bit. I reused one of the McCormick containers. This is a pink salt that's got a lot of minerals in it. You have to be kind of careful here that we don't overdo the salt. But it's a big block of beef, so you're not going to overdo it unless you really pour the salt to it. There's our salt. Now we're going to go to some granulated onion powder. Nice little coat of that. And some black pepper. This is pure ground McCormick's black pepper. It's a coarse grind black pepper. It's already looking good. Already making me hungry. And this last one is a McCormick's Chipotle chili. This is pretty hot. It's a good spice. So that Chipotle's got an excellent flavor. I've been cooking for a long time. I went 50 years of my life, didn't know what a chipotle is, or it's basically just a pepper that has been roasted, and that's a fancy term that they use for it. And I'll put a little extra of that. I do like it. It's got a good flavor. Now we're going to flip it over and repeat. Show you how quick this is going to go. Get my paper towel out so don't make too big of a mess. All right, paper towel done. Put a little Tony's. I like the Tony's. I just used the original on it. They sell it everywhere. It's a very good seasoning. It's got a little cayenne pepper in it. It's got a little bit of everything. Got a little salt too. So that's why I'm kind of careful with my pink salt because you could overdo it. Garlic powder again. Looks like I'm putting a bunch, but it's just it's a light color. That's a very thin coat. That makes an excellent flavor though. This is going to be cooking a while. We're going to be cooking this bad boy. We're going to put him to bed, tell him a little bedtime story about this little piggy went to market, something like that. And he's going to go to bed in the smoker for 12 hours. That's a coat of the salt. Here's our onion powder again. It's not real important on the order of these. They're all going to soak in. And our black pepper again, make that pretty black. good coat of that. This is a heavy chunk of beef, so you're not going to hurt it. Some people like just salt and pepper. Listen, on this, you can use anything you want, but salt and pepper are by far your most important. And then our chipotle again, that'll give it some red. And the goal is to make a nice bark. So 12 hours, we're going to cook this at a nice low temperature. I'm going to come in my grill at about 180 or whatever it'll do, 180, 190 on the low end. And when I set it up on the next video that you see, it'll be the same video, but a continuation of this. We'll see the exact temperature I get it set at. And we will put it to bed. We're going to start it at midnight tonight. And we're going to take it all the way up to 12 hours later, which will be 12 noon tomorrow. So midnight to noon. That's a good coat. So I want to invite you to try out the carnivore diet. Of course, we're going to be doing the prime rib. You can eat this and then eat ice cream and cake afterwards if you want to. But we want to encourage you. Give it 30 days. Try it out. See if you don't feel better. See if you don't begin to lose some weight. You can look at any of my old videos when I was pulling a gun out of the holster on some of my shooting videos and standing up sideways, and I had a big belly sticking out. And that's, I don't know if you can see it now, but big belly is pretty much gone. I'm not skinny yet, but I'm also not fat. So I have a theory, if you weigh 50 pounds overweight, it's just like you've taken a backpack and loaded 50 pounds in the back of it and you're carrying it all day long. And you get to the end of the day and you're really tired and you're just carrying extra fat that you don't need. Some people have 2 of those 50-pound packs of fat on them. So they're carrying an extra 100 pounds to do every job they do all day long. They sit down at the end of the day, their knees are hurting, their feet are hurting because they're carrying an extra small person around with them everywhere that they go that day and everything they do. So we'll get back with you and we'll stop right here and I'm gonna go get the grill all prepared, get it fired up. We've got 40 pounds of pellets in it. They're fruit wood pellet, looking forward to that. And we'll get it up to temperature and then we'll load this. Okay, welcome back to Whimsical Farm. And now we are outside at the old Pitboss Pro Series. We are going to be loading this up with a nice, beautiful brisket. I called it prime rib earlier. That's my mistake. This is a beef brisket. And our goal is to load this into the Pitboss. I have him set at 200 degrees Fahrenheit. And time is right at midnight. We're going to load him in there and put him to bed. Tell him a quick bedtime story. And let him cook for 12 hours. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. We've got a bunch of big German Shepherds all around. Like to be real careful there. You don't want to drop that bad boy. And the water pan in the bottom is full of water. You got to do that. Latch it down. We got it set. Oh, one more thing before I close that up all the way. We got to put this temperature probe in. It's not super critical, but I'd like to know what it is in 12 hours just for fun. It won't be finished. So this step today is it's nice and black. It's got a good bark. We caught some juice off of it at the end, some au jus. And we're gonna wrap this up in a nice butcher paper. I bought this, it's just a Walmart paper, $2 a roll, $2 and change, so here we go. This is a 15-inch paper. I got 2 strips laying side by side, overlap by about 1 inch. So it should give me about 29, 30 inches, something like that. And I went ahead and used a little painter's tape on the back side so it doesn't fall apart. So we're just gonna roll this up like this. You can see the painter's tape there. I just didn't want to come apart on me. And we'll roll it up a little bit. And then fold this over like that. Want it good and tight. Kind of like you're wrapping up a Christmas present, really. You want it to look decent, but you want it to be pretty tight so the juices can't get away from you. And there's that. And there's that. So now we're going to roll it over There's that. And then one more roll. Boy, that thing is already starting to get soft. So there's a nice looking package. Get my tape in place. And I got a stainless steel pan. We're going to set this in right here. And we got some little dogs there sitting around here watching all this that's going on. Set that right in that pan. And you can put the fat side up or down. It really doesn't matter on this one because it's sealed in. So the juices are going to stay inside that nice paper wrap. Just make sure that it's sealed up good. I'm tucking it under on the corners. Now, the next step is to finish this off. We want to go ahead and put this, I'm not going to put it back on the smoker. There's no reason to use my smoker and burn pellets when we can keep this in the house close to us. And I'm going to set my oven on 275. So we're going to come up in temperature a little bit, go to 275, and we will cook this until we get a temperature of about 190 to 200 range. I'm going to shoot for 190 first. On the tip, it'll get a little hotter than the body of it, the flat. They call it the tip and the flat. So we'll keep shooting the tip. When we see 190 on it, we'll start double checking the flat. And once we get to 185, 190 range overall, we will do a finger test, poke down on it and see if it feels good and soft. At that point, we'll call it done. And then we'll just set this aside for a while and let it slowly cool down and let the juices that have come out into the paper reabsorb. As it cools, it'll condensate first, then suck it right back into the meat, and that way it won't get dry on us. So thank you all for watching, and we'll be back with you after it finishes cooking. And we'll talk a little bit more about the carnivore diet. Thank you very much. Welcome back to Whimsical Farm, and we have finally finished off this nice brisket. So let's have a look. We went ahead and cooked this, finished it off in the electric oven. I went ahead and ran this 300 degrees just for the sake of time, and we ran it for 4 more hours until we got a temperature. Let's check that real quick. I was seeing 200 degrees internal overall, and you can see that there's a 197.8. I'll let it sit about 30 minutes or so. There's a 194. Anything in the 190 to 200 range is a really good temp. See there's that hit a 199 there, 199.9. So temperature's very good. Some people tell you that you should let these sit for a couple hours, put them in a cooler and all that. I'm way too hungry. We're just not going to wait for that. I've already cheated and cut just a little piece off the end to give it to my wife, and she's in love with me even more now. So let's have a look, see what's inside here. That paper looks like it got extra juicy. So I'm gonna just go ahead and pull it out of the picture. And I can't put it in a trash can because the dogs will tear up the world to get to that. The bark overall looks real good. It's not quite as black as what I thought it'd be. Let's turn it over on the other side and have a look. Boy, it is soft. It has got tender. There's the bark. Oh boy, that really looks good. There's a little soft piece. We'll save that. So you're supposed to cut the end of it off, I think about this much. This is called the tip of it. And we're going to cut that part off. And it should really be cut in a, turn your grain this way and cut it. And I'm going to kind of go a fan like that on it. So I'm going to cut it, see what it looks like. This is a little bit more firm than the other. But you can see the smoke ring on that. For a digital smoker, that's pretty impressive. See, it's got a good color to it. It's soft, see that? It's trying to fall apart. Not quite. Here's a little stretch test. And I'm not gonna, you don't get to see me eat this. I'm gonna hide that. Wow, that is good. I tell you, the one thing about the carnivore diet, I finally get to eat what I really like to eat, which is meat. And if I'll put this on the video, I'm going to put a couple of pictures. One will be a picture of a cow. He's got grass in his mouth, meaning he's just eating salad. And then I got a picture of the king of the jungle, the lion. And we know what he eats. He eats meat. And the cow is a big fat cow living off of nothing but grass. You can finish them off of grass and everything else, and they'll still be fat. So I think on carnivore, instead of just eating salad all the time like a lot of people do, we want to eat meat. And the meat's good for you. It's what they ate in Bible days. It's what our predecessors, as they say, hunter-gatherers ate years ago. There's still people in Africa right now, tribesmen that are out there that are eating nothing but monkeys and deer that they hunt with bow and arrow. And those guys are in super good shape. So we're going to try out the carnivore. We've been on it now for about 30 days. And I'm really, really impressed with the way that this is coming out. You can see that's a good quality meat. It's very tender. You can see it like that. I mean, it's really soft, but it's not just mushy. Sometimes you can cook you've seen grandma sometimes overcook a pot roast and it just turns into just mush and overcooked. But 190 to 200 degrees. Man, I want to stop making a video and just sit down and eat this thing. Golly, that thing tastes good. I'm going to go ahead and cut this a little different angle, make some cubes. Bark's trying to come off a little bit, but I don't think that's going to hurt anybody. Right there on the tip, that's the stuff that people fight over right there. See that? I'll cut that in half. And my wife, she will be real careful and probably stay up in the night checking on this and testing it and testing it and testing it. And I'm going to take some of this to bed with me too. There's a nice little piece. I'm going to go ahead and stick this in a pan. I'm going to save this over here in this pan. Got it prepared like it'd be going into a restaurant. Gather it up. And now we'll cut this big piece. Man, that thing is so big. Golly. I think we got to cut this way. We left the fat on ours, and you can see some of it still got the jelly fat there on the top. Some people like that, some don't. But just to make it simple, when we were doing this job, I didn't want to sit and trim and trim and trim. I see people do that, and they take a sharp knife and they really work like crazy to trim all that off. Look how juicy that is. Now, here's the test that they always show. Here's the test, see? It is very, very tender. It's got the little red line there. That's a little smoke ring. Very good quality meat. And we got some big German Shepherds in here looking this situation over. Hidey hole. I'll share just a little piece with you, but you have to promise not to, here. You can be right here, just a little piece. Down, get down. Okay, thank you. Good girl. I'll share some more later. That fat is still there. There you can see the separation line there. And very, very tender, very juicy. It's still just super moist. And I tell you what, I am really, really impressed. This is my very first brisket to smoke. And for a beginner, it came out really good. The only thing I can say about this is YouTube provides you with a lot of good information. It really does. And that's where I learned how to do this. I watched a bunch of professionals that do this a lot, and some of them doing it for a living. And I thought, well, they're kind enough to show me all these tricks of the trade. I might as well just emulate what they're doing. They told me exactly how long to cook it, exactly what temperature to look for, what kind of cooker to use, which is the pellet smoker. You can use a regular wood stove with the offset, but and I've owned one of those, but I have found that those are really tricky to use because you're constantly having to do something with the fire. You're either having to add a stick of wood. If you get too many sticks of wood or the wrong size wood, you could end up with some really heavy-duty white smoke. And when you do that, you'll make the meat will get bitter. And then if you let the fire burn too hot, you can go way over on your temperature and ruin your meat that way. If you don't have a water pan, the meat can get pretty dry. So it's quite an art to do it with just manual labor with just regular wood. So the pellet stove makes it super nice. You could just go to Walmart and get you a 40-pound bag of pellets. Something I learned on this job was we were cooking at 200 degrees for 12 hours, and it did not use that many pellets because your temperature is nice and low. That's such a nice pile of meat. I need to start putting this, we'll go ahead and put this right into the pan here. Let's see if I can get that where it stays together a little bit. And it has shrunk a little bit, but don't feel like we lost a whole lot. You can see that cuts really good. I think that's kind of a good test of meat, is the way it slices, cuts good. And the bark is still in good shape. It didn't fall apart like I thought it was going to. German Shepherds, they like to watch this job right here being done. That's pretty fatty, but it's gonna taste good. Now, let's talk about the carnivore diet just a little bit. I have been taught all my life not to eat fat because fat will make you fat. And then I got on YouTube and started looking at a lot of different doctors that are using this technique to lose weight. And I've been on this now a little bit over a month, and I am losing weight quickly. I started off at 278 pounds. I did a little intermittent fasting, and then I kind of got into the carnivore and got started with that, and I can lose a pound a day on carnivore diet without any problem. And what I love about it is you don't feel like you're beating yourself up. If you get hungry, you can always eat some scrambled eggs or eat some more meat. You can have a can of tuna. You can eat a little piece of cheese if you just want an appetizer, or some pork rinds. They're a good snack. But you don't eat popcorn. You don't eat potato chips. None of that stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and slice this direction off the end. I want some chunks out of this, not all just slices. You can see that's really soft and jiggly. It's still got some fat on the top, but that's good quality meat. Some of it very soft. And then we'll go ahead and scoop this up, just stick this right into the tray. And these are what people fight over. That's one of those end pieces. It's got the black on it. That is the king's meat right there. Cut some thicker, bigger chunks here. This is not quite as fatty as the other is, but you can always lay that in the stove and let some of the fat render out a little bit more if that bothers you. It's not going to bother me. I'm going to whoop it. So, pull this out here where we can talk about it. I'm going to set this right back over here. I'm going to move this cutting board over. So there's what we ended up with. There's almost no waste at all. And the flavor on this is just unreal. It's very delicious. It's tender. I can tell you, we appreciate you coming and visiting with us here at Whimsical Farm. I may be a beginner at this, but I don't think I need to do a whole lot of perfecting on this. I'll follow this rule on the next one. I'm surprised at the quality of this meat from Walmart. Some of their meat is not real high quality. I don't use their ground meat unless it's from the grass-fed stuff or the organic meat. But not too many of their steaks or anything like that. But we have had good luck with their pork ribs, the baby back. They do good. But this is an excellent cut of meat for $2.98. And look at that smoke ring, how that made. It's not real deep, but it's got a good flavor. And the wood that I used on this, if you wanted to emulate, do the same thing, I bought the Pitboss wood that was all fruit wood. It wasn't a mix of hickory, it was just straight fruit wood, and it really did a great job. It's not quite as strong flavor as the hickory. It's kind of a sweet flavor, but it's a really good flavor. So we wanted to thank you. If you've seen anything on this video that gave you a good tip or encourage you about carnivore diet or the way that we cooked it, please hit the subscribe and take the time to do that, because that'll help us with the channel and we can get more to you. So hit subscribe and the like button, and also you can hit the bell notification, and we'll keep sending you videos. This is our first one on the Carnivore channel, but we sure look forward to doing a whole bunch more of these. So thank you for being with us here, and come back and check out some more videos in the future. Thanks a lot.